We, in this impromptu live, we are going to talk to you about how to ignite your authorial empire by building your power as an author. So this is perfect for entrepreneurs. This is perfect for aspiring authors, those who have perhaps published before and are looking to build or expand their business empires using books to leverage and establish their expert authority. So my name is Tracy Brown. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Women Writing Intentionally Collective and CEO of Gemini Moon Press. And it is my mission to help amplify the voices of women who are the safekeepers of divine feminine and sacred ancestral wisdom. And today I am joined by the gorgeous Ruth Fay from Fay Blood Publications. She is an intuitive writing coach, an editor, an international best-selling author, a speaker, youth mentor, and she is also the chief editor here at the Women Writing Intentionally Collective. So we are celebrating the release of our brand new book, Betrayed, which was released on Monday. And it did hit #1 bestseller. It hit bestseller in the US and Canada. And we are so excited to be sharing a little bit about how being part of collaborative book projects like Betrayed has helped us to build the foundations of our own businesses and laid the foundations for building an empire. So Ruth, tell me a little bit about the collaborative books that you have been in, why you wanted to step into writing, especially as a book coach and writing coach and editor, into collaborative book projects, and how being part of collaborative books and multi-author books has actually helped you to gain clients and build your business.
No worries. Thank you for having me today, Tracy. So like things tend to happen for me, I discovered collaborative books firstly through my work because I helped a very old friend from high school days edit his chapter for a book that he did a while ago, and I had never really experienced them. So that sort of piqued my interest. And then during that sort of latter year of COVID, I met you, met a couple of other people, discovered the indie publishing world, and learned about what collaborative books can do for people within their business and personally through personal development, I guess, as well. So for me, initially, with the first two books, it was about the experience. It was, how does this work? How can I implement this in my work? How can I support publishers? How can I support authors? How can I bring the coaching that I knew then that I wanted to do and had done but hadn't quite clarified, I guess, within my business structure? How can I bring that into it? So the first two were definitely to experience how people in the industry, how publishers do things differently, and who I would like to work with, and all those sorts of things came into it. It was exploratory. Plus, particularly Lunar Wisdom was, I've been working with the moon for a couple of years. It's something I'm passionate about. I love it. It brings to life. I enjoyed meeting you, thankfully. So it was a really good space to first step into that and to learn about how collaborative books worked, because I had literally had no idea. And then coming in and being involved from an editing aspect, obviously editing is part of my business as well. So that again was learning the processes and how it works and how to best support authors and also support publishers, because editing sits in that sweet spot in between both to some extent. Well, to me, it does anyway. The 5 books that I have now released and written a chapter in and released, every one of them is different. Every one of them, funnily enough, is a different aspect of me and or my business. And in writing in each of them, I've gained more and more clarity on a personal level, not only about myself and myself as a writer, but also my business and why I do what I do, what I can bring to my clients, what I want to do more of, what I can explore more about. Like there's so much, but that clarity I think is probably the most important part of it as far as writing in these five now books has gone.
I
And
love
then
that.
within,
Actually. I was talking to someone actually earlier today about that exact thing, that sharing your story in multi-author books and in collaborative books, because we only get to share like this much of our story, right? You get 1,500 to 5,000 words, depending on the kind of project you're in, means that you have to be really concise with your story. It means that you have to choose a facet of your journey, and that each chapter, and you just touched on this, and I love that each chapter in each different book that you've been in is one more facet of your story, one element, one more layer, and that like diamonds are multifaceted, we as people are multifaceted beings. Our stories have many different faces, and we get to dive down little rabbit holes, I guess, in each book that we write, in each story that we contribute to, that gets to focus on a particular element of our own journey or our own business that allows us to illustrate how we have managed to find nuggets of gold, pieces of healing, pieces of wisdom to share with others who need to reach and receive that message as well. So I love that you touched on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, very. And I think part of that is also that in doing that and having to actually think about it and then write it within a certain number of words and decide which story we're going to tell, that brings healing and clarity to us and in regards to our businesses as well. And then it works two ways. Like, yes, we're wanting to share and support and whatever, but that comes back as well. And it's this beautiful reflection back and forth between the work that we're doing as authors and then the work that we're doing outside of that in our own businesses as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really important part of it. And for me, being in the industry, and I love the indie publishing industry, I think it's amazing. Traditional publishing is so hard. Indie publishing is not. It's beautiful and supportive. For me personally, a lot of what I have learned, I've been able to implement, as I said before, but it's also the people that I have met within the book containers. Like any group, you're not always going to click with everyone or resonate with everyone, and there's space for everyone in that. But the majority of the people I've met and the containers I'm in have been opportunities to learn, to hear from other people, to explore their experiences in life and in business. And I love learning, and I love learning through storytelling because that's what I do. So doing that within the containers and then being open to other experiences and then to bring that into my work and into my business has been, it's not necessarily quantifiable financially, but on a education level and a connection level, and most of my work has always come through word of mouth referrals, and multi-author books have done that because in those containers, when you're writing together and editing with people, it is about building connection and then building trust, and people know that if they do refer me, then it's good. It will work. Like, it's okay to do that. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to work with the people, but I will always support the referrals that come through. So
Yeah.
I guess that's the other part of it for me too.
And that is it, isn't it? As a business owner and as an author, being in those collaborative containers does give us the opportunity to connect with other like-minded business owners, where there are those opportunities for cross-promotion, for referrals, for opportunities to collaborate outside of the book container. And
absolutely.
so how is participating as an author in multi-author books within the Wounded Women series, but also within the other book containers that you have been a part of, helping you to build your intuitive writing coaching business empire? Or how is it helping you to lay the foundations for the future expansion and growth of your empire?
So, as I said, a lot of it is about making connections and learning. A big part of that is that it has given me confidence to explore doing things differently, not always following things like bro marketing and the sort of patriarchal structures that overlay a lot of businesses. When you're talking to other people who are doing things differently, for me, it also allows me to do more exploration and look at how I can do things differently that are aligned with my values and aligned with me and not the shoulds of how you do things. So that courage to step into what works for me and will therefore draw the clients that I can help the best, has been a huge part of that, like having that bravery to do that and stand up for what I believe. Um, the flip side of that, I guess, is that every time I work with a client, I learn more about what I'm doing. So being in the multi-author books has opened up my client base globally. I have clients in various countries all over the world now, or through publishers. I'm working with clients all over the world. So not only am I learning from their stories and there's times when I'll be editing a chapter and I will then go and Google the place they're talking about because I've never been there and I don't know anything about it. So there's just fascination in there as well. Um, it's like little adventures, guided adventures from my desk. But so the global market to me has been opened through that, through working within multi-author books and writing. And then, bringing that down, it's the learning of working with clients. And I will share this now. Betrayed was particularly difficult for me because of what I wrote about within my chapter. It's something I've struggled to speak about for a long, long, long time, and certainly publicly. So I but I got the courage to do that from working with a client recently who I was referred to by someone in a multi-author book, who I had written with as well. So it sort of that little journey led me to this stage of actually stepping into, am I brave enough to do this? And a big part of my work is supporting authors through that journey of telling their story and doing it safely and confidently and facing the fears that come up. And for me to do this through Betrayed, I felt those fears viscerally. I was terrified. I wanted to pull my chapter because I was too scared to put it out there, but I did it. And yes, there's still fears there, but it feels good. And I knew I needed to do it, and it was the right thing to do. And I did it in a space that was, again, cared for and loving and supportive and not rushed, thankfully. Um, in doing that, I have learned even more how to support my clients energetically, because I know what it feels like to be terrified to tell your story, to speak up, to use your voice. I thought I knew it before, but now I know it in every cell of my body. And if I hadn't written in Betrayed, I wouldn't have had that insight and all of those things. I've never really thought of it as building an empire, I guess, but all of those things are all pieces that I can bring to my business, and they all sort of layer on top of that courage and confidence to take risks and to trust myself and to know that the people who come into my life will bring learning and exploration and support and knowledge, and I will share that back with them. So yeah, there's a lot there, but it's amazed me. And it was only recently that I sat back with the launch of Betrayed and looked at those 5 books and went, oh my God, they have brought so much in such different ways to my life and my business, and the future building of my business.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I also just wanted to circle back for a second to something that you said earlier, which I do feel like we didn't really dive into in that moment because there was so much other juicy stuff that we went straight on to. But you talked about how sharing different facets of your story has also helped to bring you clarity in your messaging and in your vision and in your mission. And I feel like that is one of the other things that is really a gift that comes with contributing to multi-author books or collaborative book projects in terms of igniting your authorial power is that you get to lean into different parts of your story in a way that does help you to clarify and really get clear on, lean into, align with the things that light you up or the things that you feel really passionate about as a business owner, as an author, as an entrepreneur. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. For example, I wrote in a industry-based book about my work as a writing coach and as an editor, and I struggled with it. I wasn't sure how to put that on paper. And as I worked my way through it, which meant looking at my processes and my whys and all of the things of why I do what I do and how I do it, in doing all of that, I wrote my website copy. And I'd been struggling with my website copy for, a year and a half, 2 years. I knew I needed to do it. And when I wrote it down, I was like, oh, this is why I do what I do. This is what I want in my about page. This is my bio. This is what I want to share with people. These are what my packages are. So that, that's a little example of it, but it was so clear having written that chapter where I could then bring that, how I could bring that into the rest of my life, business wise. And that I guess the other part of that is I love writing. I've always been a writer, but I have struggled with speaking my voice, or speaking my truth and using my voice and being visible in that as well. So writing chapters in multi-author books does bring in visibility. You're putting it out into the world. You don't know who's going to read it. Like the chapter with Betrayed, I was fine for my partner to read it. I was fine for you and Jenny to read it. And then as soon as it went any further than that, I was like, oh my God, this has got really scary. But that's all part of the process as well. And what really clicked for me was at the start of that question when you said, how, about igniting your authorial power. I hadn't looked at it that way. And that is a really powerful, for want of a better word, way of, for me, when I'm feeling that fear now and in the future books in Wounded Women and who knows what else, my solo book when that comes out and all of those things, looking at it as authorial power from a feminine perspective and stepping into that power and being open to receive what that brings. And I have had to sit in the last few days of, I trust that my story and the other stories in the book, which they're amazing, and everyone has been so brave, those stories will resonate with the people that need to hear it. And if my story touches one person and can help them feel seen, feel heard, feel understood, feel less alone, inspire them to take some sort of action that will help them in their healing, reach out to me, whatever, all of those things, then my job is done. That is power to me. That is, that's what this is all about.
I love that. That's perfect. You just summed it up exactly. Stepping into your authorial power is very much linked to all of these things and how we are, I guess, really being called to share those things, to feel the fear, to sit in it, to allow ourselves to marinate in it a little bit, and to do it anyway, to have the courage to do it for the women who need to receive those messages, and men, for all of the people who need to receive those messages. And it is certainly something you should be proud of yourself for stepping up and taking those steps, especially, I know with your story in Betrayed was a very hard one for you to share. And for those of you who are watching, if you haven't yet got a copy of Betrayed, please do. You can get it at mybook.to/betrayed book. We'll drop the link in the comments so that you can grab a copy and read Ruth's story and my story and the stories of the 10 other incredible women who have contributed. Just to sum up, we have been sharing today about how to ignite your authorial power and build your empire through writing your book or contributing to a multi-author collaborative book. And our key takeaways for this are that it gives you the opportunity to connect and collaborate with other authors within the container, which does help you to, build your business, create collaborative opportunities, to network and gain referrals with clients. And it doesn't matter whether you are an editor working in the indie publishing industry like Ruth, or whether you have some other kind of business as well. It does work both ways. It is an opportunity for you to get clarity on your messaging and clarity on who you are and what your values are and what you want to be leaning into in your business. It is a way for you to showcase different facets of your personal journey and your business journey and your business, your pillars of content, or whatever you would like to call them, in your business, which helps you to create and build and lay the foundations for expanding your empire and creating that expert authority, because you do get to lean into and talk about what it is that you do in your business and how you help people and be exposed to more people in the world. So we are going to wrap up and leave you with that. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ruth. It's always lovely to chat.
You're welcome.
And yeah, make sure, if you would like to find out more about contributing to one of our other Betrayed Wounded Women series titles, we are still accepting enrollments for Broken and for Burned. You can find the link to apply to be part of the Wounded Women series at womenwritingintentionally.com. If you'd like to find out more, do feel free to reach out and DM me directly or visit the website. And we would love to catch up with you again soon. Lots of love, everybody.